I'm sure it won't come to a surprise to anyone that as we celebrate this festival of Passover, Pesach, that we have special Torah readings this week. The rabbis laid out individual little portions of the Exodus story for us to recall as we go through each day of this Chag HaMatzot, this festival of matzah. And today's Torah reading comes from the 13th chapter of the book of Exodus, verses 14 through 16. Just a little snippet. But in this snippet, we're reminded that we were saved from slavery. We were taken from Egypt by God's outstretched arm. It recalls that God slew the firstborn of the Egyptians when Pharaoh refused to let the Israelites go. And we know that seems like a harsh punishment on the Egyptians. But of course it is the corollary to the Pharaoh's law that the Israelites should not be allowed to procreate, that they themselves should not be allowed to have their sons born, that they should be killed at death. The Talmud goes to great length to discuss the miracle that the midwives and the women of Israel continued to bear children and that another generation was born. Because if it hadn't been for that generation, if it hadn't been for the bravery of the women to become pregnant and to allow those children to be born and for them to be raised up, we would of course cease to exist with this story in Egypt. And so as we recall this story, we think of what seems like a new greeting on Passover. Many people have said to me, may you have a liberating Seder. I hope you, like me and my family, felt a little bit of liberation as we sat through the Seder, because as we recall these great stories, whether they be miracles or metaphors, we know that we too can reach out with an outstretched hand and with not a lot of effort help others be liberated and delivered.